All right, guys. Welcome to Wide Awake News Radio. I'm your host, Charlie McGrath, the 20th day of February, Wednesday, and we have another great program lined up for you tonight. If you're listening and not in the chat, please go to wideawakenews.com. Click on the radio on the right-hand side of the page, and that'll take you right into the chat room. You can join the 50 folks we have in there now. And if you want to watch me do this live, you can access the Justin TV feed from there as well. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we have Susanne Posel, and I apologize right ahead of time because I did a promotional vid and I mispronounced her last name, but it's it's an easy one to mispronounce. But Susanne Posel is going to be joining us, and she really is one of the best writers, I believe, in this movement. I visit her website just about every day, and I'm never let down. It's always a fantastic writing, and she's been all over the alternative world as far as being interviewed, and she has a radio program of her own. So it's going to be a very informative first hour. Second hour is going to be just as informative, but we're going to narrow down the focus a little bit on precious metals. Gabe Elton is coming on here from Austin, Texas, and we're going to talk about precious metals, really interesting subject. A lot of us own precious metals. A lot of us follow and track what it's doing, and it has been taking a beat down lately. There's absolutely no doubt about it. But if you happen to catch the Greg Manarino video the other day, it's the paper market that's being beat down. The physical is another story altogether. And this brings me to the little bit of an intro here in the monologue. I'm telling you, there's no shortage of shocking headlines that we could look at because, it seems everything is going to hit all at once. We're looking at cybersecurity. We're looking at immigration. We're looking at gun control. We're looking, every time you turn on your television, there's one drama or another building. A lot of these are really important issues and worthy of concern and worthy of talking about. But I'm telling you, folks, I've been talking about it the last couple nights on the program. Watch March 1st. I really believe this 90-day kicking the can down the road to March 1st. I know a lot of people, even guests we've had on the program, have said that this March 1st deadline is a canard. I don't believe that. I truly believe the sequester is going to go through, and regardless of how big of a deal, monetarily speaking, we're talking about here, billions of dollars in a trillions of dollar budget. Regardless of the dollar amount, look at the rhetoric. Look at the position that these two teams are taking. I mean, it is some serious cuts that could potentially be coming here March 1st. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I want a smaller government. But when we're talking 700, 800,000 jobs out of the Pentagon, you're talking thousands and thousands of other jobs in the public sector, or in the government sector, rather, it does make a difference. And if you were going to unleash the ultimate financial terrorist event or governed by crisis event, this would be it. This would be it. Look, both sides have this political cover. The Republicans can say that we worked with these guys. We promised to let the government keep running up debt as long as we got these issues worked out. And the blue team can come up and say, look, we've made offers, we've made deals, but the red team, they just don't want to play ball. This president has nothing to lose, right? He's not going for re-election again. This president has nothing to lose. I do believe there has to come a day when we get to pay for all the crimes of Wall Street. This day must occur. And if you look at Wide Awake News today, you see some of the stories in here. The rich getting richer, the poor getting poorer, the middle class continuing to shrink. The wealthy, the uber elite wealthy, are doing better than ever before. There's multiple stories that are out today about how we all have to pitch in and take a big bite of this debt crisis that's looming. We are being conditioned for the ultimate austerity in this country. And I truly believe that this sequester, this March 1st, the event itself, the dollar amount itself, I don't think it's that big of a deal. We can print trillions of dollars out of thin air to save banks. But when it comes time to enter the nation into austerity, to turn the tide of kind giving government that wants to shower the nation with cash, that time is coming to an end because all the banks, all the big bankers have been saved. They're all positioned in where they want to be. So when it comes crashing down and we have a true sovereign debt crisis, it's we the people that will have to shoulder this burden. All right, let's get to our guests. I ranted on too much here. We have about 4 minutes before the break. That'll be just enough time for Susanne to tell us a little bit about her website. Susanne Posel, thank you very much. Posel. I said it. I caught myself. Susanne Posel, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Like I said before the program and in the intro there, I'm a giant fan of your writing style and the topics that you cover, and I really enjoy your website as well. How are you tonight? Thank you for joining us.
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me. I'm honored. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Let's talk about your website. How long is it? First of all, are you the owner of the website? Because I think I announced that.
Yes, it is mine. I don't repost anybody else's work. I made that decision because there's so much disinfo. There's so much speculation out there. I do all the research. I write all the articles, so it's mine.
So I do notice that it seems that every piece that's up on your article is written by you. So all this content you're writing, so you must spend all day writing articles.
Well, I homeschool my son, and I'm a stay-at-home mom and wife. So I cook and clean and take care of the house and take care of the kids and write articles and do my radio show and appear on other people's shows. And that's all I do. And then I go to bed.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I do about half as much as you, and I have no time. So I imagine you're one busy lady. OccupyCorporatism.com is the website. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. If you haven't visited it, please do so. And again, I say this with all my guests that I go to their websites all the time, because I mean it. I want you to go there and bookmark it and check this thing every day. You heard Susanne. You heard this is her livelihood. She homeschools her son. She takes care of the family, and she works on this website. The reason interesting. We got going on here. Okay, that was weird. That was welcome to Wide Awake News Radio. I don't know what happened.
I'm not sure what that was, Charlie. It came in from the Rents feed. I'm not sure. I think we're a little early for the break.
Yeah, we're about 2 minutes before the break, so I'm just going to continue on and maybe shoot a message to Brett at the studio and see if we're live. But I'm going to assume we are. What I want to say, Susanne, is that I do encourage people to go to your website, bookmark it, and visit it every day. And one thing I haven't said when I have these folks on, like Adrian Salbuche, like Michael Snyder, these folks who spend a lot of time uploading a lot of information on their website, when you go there and you see their advertisers that they have there, these guys, they are trying to eke out a break-even proposition in most cases, and they can certainly have a leg to stand on with their advertisers if they can produce the kind of numbers that we can generate just by visiting their sites every day. I'm not saying go over there and buy everything on the site or buy everything on my site. Go to their sites, visit them, get those numbers there. That's how they move up in the rankings, and that's another way we get the word out. Susanne, would you agree with that statement?
Well, I go on merit. My articles have gotten me where I am, and my research has gotten me where I am. So, I do have sponsors on my website. I do have a donation page, and people do donate, and I appreciate that very much. But it's not about advertising. It's about getting information out. I can't believe, when I woke up, I couldn't believe what was going on. And so I had to do something. So I started this website. And for me, that's what it is about. It's about getting information out, and then what are you going to do with the information after you've gotten it? We can't just be in the information war anymore. We have to actually get up and do something. Everyone has to be their own hero. Everyone has to be the one that they were waiting for. So we need to actually get up and do something and be encouraged to stand up. Even if you're standing alone, it doesn't matter.
I agree with that 100%. And the reason I kind of brought up the monetary end of it, we were chatting I was in my chat room last night, and we were kind of having the conversation of, the folks that have got into this, for what I consider to be the wrong reasons. All right. Seems like we're back on track with our clock. So, Susanne, we're going to do our break now. We're going to come back, talk a little bit more about your website, but certainly I want to get into some of the top stories of the day and get your take on them. We're going to be back with Susanne Posel and more Wide Awake News Radio. Her website, once again, OccupyCorporatism.com. www.w.A.N.com. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, joined by Susanne Posel of OccupyCorporatism.com, one of my favorite sites. Again, I check it every day. Bookmark it, check it out. And I just want to touch on this real quick because we did in the chat room last night. By the way, if you're not in the chat, you want to join the 60 or so we have in there, wideawakenews.com, the radio microphone, that'll take you right to the chat. You can also watch me do this live up through the Justin TV feed link in the chat room. We were talking a little bit in chat last night during the program about people that have come into this movement and have vanished, right? And I'm not going to name any names, but for those of you who were around 3 or 4 or 5 years ago in the YouTube community, there's a lot of names that were really popular for a while and then kind of went by the wayside. And usually it was incorporated with some kind of a pitch or a ploy to extract from a listenership or a subscriber base revenue. And over this last several years, I've been able to develop a sense, when I see the work of people like Susanne, who I go to their website and I see that it isn't just a bunch of stuff thrown on there. It's focused, it's considerate, it's well researched. I see that these people are legitimate. So, and I can usually tell, just by, is it all about advertising revenue? Is it all about making a dollar? And you know what? Those people hardly ever make it for any length of time. And so I really do try to focus, like I was saying during the break, people like Adrian Salvucci, Susanne Posel, who hopefully we'll have on, is a consistent guest now, Michael Snyder. I know that these people truly believe in what they're writing and what the direction our country is going and want to do something to change it. And those are the kind of people we support. Again, not to make this into a half-hour commercial, but I guess I am. I want to get the message out that it is important to visit these sites, my site included. It is important to get the numbers up on these sites. I'm not saying buy anything. I'm saying just go there and get your information from there and then send it out to everybody you're trying to wake up. This is how we get momentum in alternative media. All right, let's get into the site a little bit here. Almost every single day you have multiple stories up there. You're writing yourself. Suzanne, what do you see when you look at the horizon in this country? I mean, you heard me in the intro. Just everywhere you look, there's some crisis event coming, but I think it's going to be the things we're not looking at that's going to blindside us.
Absolutely. When I look in the news, I always look for the stuff that nobody's talking about, the stuff that's hidden. When I read an article, I always look for that one sentence where I'm like, whoa, I can't believe they just said that. Oh my God. And that's what I report on. Like this article that I put up today, this senator in Colorado, state senator, Joseph Salazar, said that campuses will not have guns, and that if a woman is going to be raped, she should. I don't know if I can say this on your show, but I'll be tactful. That she should tell him that she's menstruating, that she has an STD, that to vomit or urinate on him to deter him from raping her. That a gun would not protect her.
I didn't read this article, and I have a hard time even believing this. You got to be kidding me.
I am not kidding you. And this article, thank God, is going viral right now. And I handed it off to Steve Quayle, and Steve Quayle wrote me back and said some things I can't repeat on the air. But these people are incredible, and we need to know that, because this is a state senator. So does he need to be sitting in that seat? Absolutely not. If he were in that situation, God forbid, would he want to use those tactics to protect himself, or God forbid anybody?
How about his daughter? How about his wife?
Absolutely. No woman. I'm a woman. Okay. I don't.
I gathered.
I've
seen your picture.
Thank you. I don't want to solely rely on those kind of tactics to protect myself.
The sheer ignorance of that kind of a statement, or even to have that position in your mind. Is this an adult? This is a state senator who's who's advocating urinating on an attacker to prevent rape. I mean,
if this person's going to attack you, do you think that that's going to deter them?
No. Nah, no, and to even propose that as a self-defense method is revolting. I mean, that makes me want to vomit on him for suggesting such a ridiculous course of action in the middle of a heinous, violent crime like that. Here's the advice, ladies. Take your concealed 38, maybe Ruger lightweight out of your purse and shoot the guy in the head. Because guess what? That's going to end this struggle that he's trying to inflict upon you. It's unbelievable. That go ahead.
I wrote another article about these Chinese hackers. You know, I've been following this extensively. Everything to do with the internet, including all the shenanigans with Anonymous. And they claim that this unit, 61398, which has no bearing in reality, is responsible for all of these Chinese hacking, all the Chinese hacking that's going on. So a made up unit that belongs to the Chinese government is responsible for, really? You want me to believe that? I mean, is this a grim fairy tale? Is the Easter Bunny going to come out?
Yeah, you're exactly right. But I mean, this is a little bit we've talked about recently, and I'm trying to think what got me on this topic last night. But it's this with Adrian and I were talking about this, I think off air. It's the to immerse us into this notion that everybody's the boogeyman and everybody's coming to get us, right? They're slowly, yes. Well, it ain't even slowly anymore. Now it's, oh my God, we got to worry about the Chinese, so we got to preemptively cyber attack these nations and these people. We're going to take our second break here. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Susanne, Posel, and more Wide Awake News Radio. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, joined by Susanne Posel. Her website, of course, is occupycorporatism.com. We were talking off air a little bit about some internal strife inside of alternative media, and I'm going to leave that alone for now. I want to get your take on a few issues going on that are, absolutely mind blowing. This continued destruction of this once great country. Certainly the suspension of freedom. Every time we turn around, we're being scared into giving away more of our freedom. You were talking about the Chinese boogeyman, which is interesting because, if you're on my website today, or I'm sure many others, you could see stories about how China is in one way trying to be shown as the big brother who is still buying our debt, yet we are still putting stories out in this corporate mainstream media about their attempts to cyber attack us so we can build up this fear to give away more of our freedom. And, just as the big debt crisis is coming, this unveiling, so is the clampdown on this ability to communicate so easily and freely amongst ourselves. Susan, would you agree with that?
I do agree with that, but here's my take on it. China is part of the BRICS nations, okay? And the BRICS nations are backing up all of their fiat in gold, and they've been doing that extensively. In fact, China purchased more gold last year than any other country. And the BRICS nations want to return the global reserve currency to the gold standard, which would knock out the US dollar as the global reserve currency, which means that when you go to buy anything on the global market, you don't have to transfer your fiat to US dollars. You could just back your weight in gold. Every country, the BRICS nations want every country to have their worth backed, their fiat backed in precious metals. This is something that the technocratic central bankers don't deal in. They deal in fiat and credit. They pay Peter, they borrow from Peter to pay Paul. And there's no actual money. There's no actual distributing of wealth between them. They're just taking the wealth from the people, from the people that live in the governments that are under this technocratic rule. So my take on that is the demonization of the BRICS nations is because this other fight is going on outside of what we're seeing, on the lower end, on our at our level. And it's ridiculous to me if you look and see what's going on with this is really just a huge war between the technocrats and the BRICS nations. because the technocrats want to enslave everyone, take sovereign debt, devalue every fiat, and make everyone a slave. And the BRICS nations are trying to empower the nations and make it so that every nation has its own worth backed in precious metals, so that the countries can then start to renegotiate and start to deal with each other on a more respectable level.
Yeah, and along with this comes currency war, which has been, admitted now over the last week or so that we are in the midst of full-fledged 1931 style currency war. And these BRIC nations, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, they've been trading a lot of commodities, and they've been doing a lot of commerce in their own currency and in some cases precious metals for several years now. So the stage is certainly being set. And of course, we're going to hear from people like Tim Geithner and Ben Bernanke and these power elite that want to keep it status quo, that everything is on course, and that there's no storm on the horizon. But you know what? They're going to say this right up until it's a tsunami that hits the shore. They are certainly not going to admit that the rest of the world is jockeying to get away from the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency. And you know what? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that we will see an exit of the dollar as much as we'll see a crisis of global currencies in the West. I do believe, Susanne, that it's been in the works for namely the last 4.5, 5 years to immerse the Western world in debt. And I think their plan is pretty simple: get this debt so out of control that they have to offer a solution. And maybe the solution will still be called the U.S. dollar, but it'll certainly be a revaluing of it. It'll be a change in the value of the money that you have in your pocket or your bank or your retirement. And it won't harm the two big institutions and the two big power players who are engineering this thing. It'll certainly harm our way of life in the West.
Absolutely, because when you think about it, if they want to introduce a one world currency, they have to destroy the currencies that are available. People say to me, oh, well, the bankers deal in money, so why would they want this to go away? Because they're trying to replace it with something else. When they go into a country and they push the country to the point where they have nothing left but to hand over the physical land of the country. I go back to an article that I wrote about the Bank of International Settlements, which let the central bankers know that by 2019, they have to liquidate. So this is why we're seeing all of these countries falling under sovereign debt to the central banks. This is why Ben Bernanke is buying at $85 billion a month all of the mortgage-backed securities, because he wants to be a property owner. He wants to own the physical land here in the United States. The fiat is inconsequential. When they have actual hard assets, then they have something to play with. The BRICS nations are backing up in precious metals. They have something to play with. They have a hard asset. The technocrats don't, so they're taking the physical land away from the people and making them slaves because we're on the physical land. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go?
That's right. That's right. And I agree with you. I don't think they care about whatever they call currency. I don't think they care if they call it a dollar, an SDR. I don't think they care if they call it, wampum, as long as they control it. And it goes to the argument, where I've had people on saying, we got to go to a gold standard. We got to go to a gold standard. We got to get back to this gold standard. And it's like I've said, I'm all for that. I believe in precious metal because it took effort to dig it out of the ground. It's rare. It holds its value. But I don't want a currency backed in gold or silver or anything else that isn't controlled by we the people. I don't want the same bankers who are controlling the value of the dollar controlling the value of gold and silver.
Absolutely. That's the problem I have with, I don't tell people to buy gold and silver because right now the market is controlled by the technocrats. So when you're buying into it, now silver is a little bit different, and I agree with Max Kaiser, with his silver bomb of J.P. Morgan, but right now the gold market is controlled by the technocrats. So inadvertently, when you buy this precious metal, you're buying into their system. And you're right. If it's in the control of the people, it's one thing. Every aspect of this government itself is not bad if it's in control of the people, but it's not right now. So it's a bad thing.
No doubt about it. Gary just sent me a message. We have about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before the break. And I do want to talk a little bit about your radio program. When can we hear it? Where can we hear it? So why don't you give us that information, and that'll take us into our final break this hour.
Okay. The Region 10 report on American Freedom Radio, 4 p.m. Central Time, but I'm expanding to 2 hours on the 28th.
Ooh.
So on the 28th, it'll be 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. And if you missed it live, you can go to radio.occupycorporatism.com and listen to the archives. And I'm thrilled to have my own show. So I hope you enjoy it.
I love that. A little laugh at the end. That just sells it all the way. Region 10 report. That's the name of the program. And where can I hear it again?
On American Freedom Radio, 4 p.m. Central.
All right, which is perfect because that's 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. will be your new time, East Coast, right? Or
it'll be 2 to 4 on the 28th. It'll be 2 to 4 Central.
Central,
so
3 to 5 East, which means you can listen to Susanne Posel and then turn over to Rinse Radio and listen to this program. 4 hours continuous programming. So are you going to be every day, 2 to 4?
Danny would like it if I did every day, but I'm just going to do Thursdays.
You know what? I don't blame you. I mean, you have a full load there. And how long have you had a 1 hour program on there?
About a little under a month. My show was on RBN for a little while, but I left there. And so it's been about a month now. American Freedom Radio is a great place to be. Danny Romero is a veteran of the industry, and he's one of the last honest people. It's amazing.
Well, I could say the same thing about Jeff Renst. I mean, he got me onto his network 2 years ago, and he warned me. He warned me before I even got into this alternative media, alternative radio, of a lot of the hype that goes on, and of all the Johnny-come-latelys coming into it. And there's certainly been a ton of them. But again, they come and go. They go as fast as they show up. So I'm glad you're with a good network, and I look forward to your success. We're going to be back with Susanne Posel. More Wide Awake News Radio in just a minute. Hang tight. All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. It is Charlie McGrath joined by Susanne Posel. Her website, occupycorporatism.com, absolutely packed with great information, and every piece of information on here is written by Susanne. So, like I said, I can't imagine you're spending all day chasing kids around and writing articles.
Yeah, that's all I do.
In the last segment here, a story that you wrote about here, massive media fumble, DHS, 21.6 million rounds purchased.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you break that down a little bit?
Well, James Smith, Prepper Podcast Network, he syndicates my radio show on his network, and he is an awesome guy. I love him to death. And he brought me this information. He is the one who originates all these articles about the bullets. He's following fedbiz.gov, and it's a hard site to navigate, so I give him kudos because I've gone there to try to look up stuff, and I can't find it. Anyway, he wrote an article, InfoWars picked it up, and they completely fumbled the math. I mean, I don't even know how they got to 21.6 million rounds of bullets. The actual solicitation breaks it down for you. It was 100,000 of this, 100,000 of that, and 40,000 of this. Mm-hmm. And the initials were MX, and you have to go back to Roman numerals. MX stands for 1,000. So my husband and I, when I was writing this article, and James brought me a lot of information for me to write it, and I'd written some other articles on Alex Jones, so I added that stuff in there just to let people know, just because the guy's the biggest guy on the block doesn't mean he's telling you the truth, and just because he's got branded loyalty, and you believe him because he's been around in the industry. I think it's 18 years now this year. It's a very dangerous place to be. Don't follow someone because they've been around a lot, and don't follow someone because they tell you to or they tell you not to. Do your own research yourself and look at my source links are not there to make it look pretty. They're there so you can read the documents yourself. And so when I read the solicitation and I saw the discrepancy, I was like, oh my God. It's bad enough that they're buying these bullets, and we should be reporting on it, but we should not be fear-mongering people at all, period. We don't want people caught like deer in the headlights. We want empowered people to read our articles and then to go do something about it. And so I felt like I had a duty to write this article because There's so much garbage. There's so many websites out there. If you want to know something, whether it's true or not, there's a website for it. There's an article out there. There's a YouTube for it. You could believe anything you want. Just type it in and you'll find it. But if you want to find actual true information, that's very difficult to do. You have to do your own research, discern your own information.
Come up with your own conclusions, no doubt about
Yeah.
it. And think for yourself is the moral of that story, and validate and verify. Did he come out and was there an acknowledgement of the math mistake in this article?
No acknowledgement, no retraction. It's like I never existed, which is funny because I used to contribute to InfoWars. But when I did some research into Alex Jones, I said no. They offered me a paid position, and I said no. And I said, by the way, take down all my articles. I don't want to be associated with you anymore.
Wow, I didn't know that. I know you used to write for them, but I didn't realize you had a falling out.
Well, it wasn't a falling out. It was just I am doing this because I want people to be empowered to do something to change their world. I am not trying to scare people, and I don't want to be affiliated with people that are trying to scare people or get clicks to their website or sell something. I don't care. When you're selling a product that is 99% ingredients are radioactive and filled with the garbage that are in the vaccines that are killing people, I don't want to be associated with you. I don't care. I'll lose readers. I'll lose listeners.
I was wondering where you're going with the 99% radioactive.
The tangy tangerine.
Yeah, I know. There was an article about irradiated bullets or something coming out of.
Oh no! I did the research into the tangy tangerine, and 99% of the ingredients are radioactive. And in fact, some of the ingredients they make nuclear rods out of.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. So and this is all cumulative. So, 10, 20 years from now, when you come down with cancer, you're probably not going to remember that it was that canister of tangy tangerine you bought at $50 a pop. There's huge things in this movement that people who are listening to us and reading our articles are not aware of. And now that I'm on the other side and I speak to the people who are on the other side of that website and I've gotten to know some of them, I realize I'm very picky about who I associate with now, and I don't care.
It's funny that we're going to end this hour kind of where we began, which is think for yourself, and there's a lot of folks in here just trying to make a buck. Part of me thinks, I'm trying to remember. One of you great listeners sent me an article about a release of information that was this army of hackers that was going to go out and infiltrate. It was an interview, a transcript of an interview. This hacking group, or I should say troll group, was going to go out on behalf of the administration and hit all these websites and get into their chat rooms and try to taint the message.
That might have been my article.
It might have been.
I did an article on CIA hackers and CIA trolls.
How long ago?
Probably like 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay, this was just in the last few days, and I tried to find it last night after the program because it was on my mind, and it is again. Again, if you're listening and you send me that article, it was an actual transcript. 2 gentlemen talking, one had insider info type of thing, and it was just the transcript of the interview. But this posse of trolls that were going to go out and get into these chats and try to belittle the message. It makes me wonder, if either some of that is happening through the pop-up of some of these sensationalist folks in alternative media, and obviously when we talk about Alex Jones, he's been around for a long time, but that doesn't mean there isn't 10 new people coming in every day that put outlandish things out there that cannot be validated or verified. Is that
right.
part of this effort, or is it just people trying to gain a quick access to a subscriber base to make some money?
I think it's both.
I do. I was going to say, I think my point is this. There has to be some self-policing in this movement, right? And it's kind of why I said to you off air that I want to put Adrian in touch with you. I want more and more people that are like-minded and I believe are genuine to start communicating and sharing information and ideas because we have to join together, I believe, in order to.
Well, that's why Vinny Eastwood started this idea, Guerrilla Media, 6 years ago, and I'm working with him on it. The website is realguerrillamedia.com. And it will be, and it is, a consortium of real, honest journalists, activists, filmmakers, artists, musicians from all walks of media, so that you know that you're getting good sourced information. And we're putting together a group of talented people that have to abide by a core principles. We have it up on the website, realguerrillamedia.com. If you're interested, if you're listening, you're interested in joining, email me at admin@occupycorporatism.com. I'm looking for real people who are affecting change, because just like Vinny, we need people to start doing something about this. We need to quit talking about it so much and start doing something. And there are people out there that are actually doing something, and they need a place where they can put their stuff out there. And journalists and filmmakers and radio hosts, we all need to come together and replace the alternative media and put aside all the sensationalists. And so there'll be this one central hub where you know that when you go to that website, and it'll be sourced directly to that person's website. So you go to realguerrillamedia.com, you click on a link, and it goes right to their website, because we don't want you to stay on realguerrillamedia.com very, very long. We want you to get to those people and go out and affect change. And those people that are actually changing our world, we want to give them a place where their voice can actually be heard. And
give me that website again, because I'm trying to open it up.
It's realguerrillamedia.com.
Okay.
My husband and Vinny Eastwood just put up the site, and I'm doing some headhunting, looking around for people. Definitely, Charlie, we want you involved in this. And we're, the alternative media has been co-opted. It's dirty. It's tainted. There's too many lies, too many liars out there, too many sensationalists. We need a place where people can go and trust the information that they're getting and act upon it.
I agree. And Vinny and I have worked together, as you probably know, quite a bit through Karen Tostato's United We Strike, and we've been guests on one another's programs. And I'm more than thank you. David put it up in the chat here, and I'll put it into our chat room right now. And like I said, anything I can do to help, to contribute, I'm happy to be there.
Thank you. Yeah, we need to replace this alternate. Everything that happens in this world has a built-in conspiracy in it, folks. And the controlled opposition is the advent of the alternative media. When they realized that people weren't buying the lies in the mainstream, they created the alternative media. And so people like me and you, Charlie, who came into it honestly, are being dwarfed by the lies that are going on, and we're fighting the lies when we should be disseminating information and organizing and getting together to actually affect change.
Oh, brother, I tell you what, if it gets to the point where we're just fighting amongst ourselves and I don't know how pervasive that is. I do know there is some of that that goes on, but we already have a big enough battle in front of us. I mean, we already have, we do have a freight train coming toward us, and it really does make you angry to think that there's people that understand this, yet they just look as an opportunity to make a nickel.
It's $1 billion industry. I mean, you got to recognize that there's billions of dollars to be had here in this industry. That's why Glenn Beck is in. It's a lot of money to be had. And there are people out there who are actually trying to make a difference and change things. And those people are being dwarfed. And the guerrilla media concept was founded by Vinny Eastwood to give people a place where their voice can be heard. And so my husband and I hooked up with him on this, and we've got the website up, and we're actively recruiting people to come in. And so when you go to that website, you don't have to worry about, this isn't about names. This isn't about, building up things. This is about getting to the information so you can change your world.
I absolutely love it. And tell David, or, you send me a message on what you want from me, and I'll get that information to you. Susan Posel, David Posel, thank you very much for the work that you guys do. And I appreciate it. And we'll get you on again real soon. Again, guys, the website, occupycorporatism.com. And give us realguerrillamedia.com is the other program we're working on, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. And I know you'd sent Susan. I know you sent Karen a request to get on your program, and I'm happy to do so. So Great to have you on for the initial interview. We'll get you on again real soon.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. Guys, stay tuned. In a few minutes, we're going to have a precious metal expert, Gabe Elton, coming on the program. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes.